posts.
From the Australian capital, the Canberra Raiders, coached by Don Fern.
And of course, Wayne Bennett also involved in the coaching down here as Dean Land with the headgear leads out the Canberra Raiders for this extremely vital and crucial Winfield Cup match. And there's the Canberra lineup, the backs. We do expect Henjak to play half and Walters to play in the centres, but let's see how the plan actually pans out on the field. And the forward pack, of course, has Dean Land's back in there after he was sent off and exonerated in that game against Manly last weekend. A big ask from these forwards this afternoon, but they've been doing it all season, but today is crunch time. And Dean Lance is a man who can really lift those other 5 forwards to play beyond their capabilities. He's a great leader, and he's a man who really is highly respected by his fellow Canberra players. A man who I think will be really looking forward to 80 minutes of strong football this afternoon after being exonerated on that head-high tackle charge on Tuesday night.
They hail from the southwest of Sydney. Here are the Bulldogs of Canterbury.
The Canterbury Bankstown side coming out onto the field. They've only been able to train once this week. Rain prevented them training on Thursday, and injuries prevented them from training on Tuesday night. And there's the back line that we expect to be playing. Farah in at fullback and Curry in the centres, but don't be surprised if Curry's fullback, Farah in the centres, and Hagan at the moment at 5'8" instead of the injured Terry Lamb. The forward pack, Langmack, Folks and Gillespie the back row, Dunn and Tunts, the prop forwards, the 2 fellows who actually share a house together, and Mark Buckland comes back into play hooker with Peter Kelly and Chris Mortimer dropping out of the side. The trump card, Steve Mortimer. Who else? He has a big job of lifting this side. They lost on Monday night. They've got a difficult task to pick themselves up after that hard game, and Steve Mortimer's had a big week. His 250th game against East on Monday night, and then on Wednesday night, it was a big testimonial for him. So he's certainly on a high, and if ever they need a high game from Steve Mortimer, it's this afternoon. Mick Stone's the referee, and we're going to see Canterbury defending the northern end of the park in the first half, and Canberra down that southern or scoreboard end as Gary Belcher takes the ball and immediately runs it back towards the Canberra quarter line.
Interesting that Canberra have elected to run into the wind in the first half. They must be expecting it to pick up in the second.
I suppose that's what they call a home ground advantage, Mark.
Yes, it certainly is, and they'll know each blade of grass out here, but it's very, very slippery out here this afternoon, and I'm sure that Canberra need to use a kicking game in order to turn Canterbury around and make sure they do. Already we've seen a penalty in the first minute, but Canberra would be well advised to use their halves, particularly Henjak and O'Sullivan, to keep Canterbury backpedaling.
So the first penalty going to Canberra, and they've found touch just inside Canterbury's territory. The first round, Canterbury much too strong for the Raiders at Belmore, winning that match 23 points to 4. And there's the attacking points for this year. Canberra will have one of the best attacking records in the league up against Canterbury, who haven't performed as well this season. But Canterbury do have the best defensive record in the Winfield Cup competition, and that's why they're still very much in contention, as are Canberra, for the Winfield Cup for this year. But a vital game this afternoon. These 2 teams locked in equal 5th position as Henjak puts that kick in. Is it going to go too far? It's going to stop just in that in-goal area. Now Farah's got to try and get that ball back into the field of play. That's good defence from Canberra, but they couldn't stop the big chunky centre, come winger, come fullback now, and he's done a good job there for Canterbury.
Yes, it's certainly the tactics already from Canberra. They've already turned the Canterbury side around. Now Canterbury will have to do the same. It's very slippery. The conditions are in favour of the side that can run the ball up in close and then use the kick.
So Paul Dunn to get up and play it a few metres out from his own line. Bugden's in there at dummy half. Now that's Steve Mortimer. Mortimer feigns the kick. He's got that pass out wide. Sandy Campbell out on the wing. Good run from Campbell. He's a very speedy customer just outside his own quarter line. Last tackle against the Bulldogs. That pass hurried from Mortimer across to Farah, but that's a good kick. He didn't have a great deal of time, but he's managed to bang it back down over the Canberra quarter line. Now Belcher's gathered that ball in, and he slips over. Now that really is an indication of just how slippery the conditions are.
And a magnificent kick by Andrew Farah. It went all of 65 to 70 metres, and it's taken already the Canberra forwards 3 rucks to get back.
As Todd takes it up, his strong ex-Kiwi, upended by the Canterbury defence. Paul Dunn just outside the quarter line. Down Canberra's end of the field, Henjak's kick. on the 4th tackle, so they get the feed into the scrum here, the Raiders. Should get the ball back and get a chance to run it at the Bulldogs for another 6. Interesting to note this year that Canterbury have won 3 of their away games, but probably the worst statistic as far as the Canberra Raiders are concerned this year is that they've only won 5 of their 10 home games so far. This is their last home game of the year.
It's going to be tough for Canterbury today, coming off that game on Monday, which would have tested them right throughout. Fairly short break in between up on the Saturday here, and then 3 players pulling out overnight. That must disrupt their preparation for the match.
Still, their replacements are pretty good, Mark.
Yes, their replacements are excellent players. We've got Paul Dunn, who's an international. We've got Mark Bugden, who's a grand final hero of a couple of years ago. And we've also got Sandy Campbell, who's an accomplished first-grade player.
And that other penalty, the second penalty of the match, also going Canberra's way. They've lost the ball. Canberra will be really looking forward to scoring a try against the Bulldogs this afternoon. They didn't get one in the first round when they went down 23-4. O'Sullivan. And he is the little man who can really break up the opposition. Very quick, finds a hole. And there's Jackson, his first run of the afternoon. Young man who's come on in leaps and bounds in recent years. Quickly across the back line, now getting out there amongst the centres and taking that ball up is Ashley Gilbert. Gilbert's down over the quarter line, looking for support. He's got it away, O'Sullivan. O'Sullivan links up with Bacco. Bacco's almost in the clear. It goes to Walters, away to Jackson, and on to Kinner, and Chris Kinner scores the try. Canberra in front. Good football from Gilbert that opened it up, but beautifully finished off across the back line, and Chris Kinner scores the try, and the Raiders are leading 4-0.
What magnificent football from the Canberra team here. The way they kept the ball alive. Firstly, it was Gilbert on the burst, cutting back into the ruck, pushes away from the Canterbury hooker Buckton there, or Folks it was, into the clear, looks for support there at the last moment, and there it was. And actually the ball getting knocked back to O'Sullivan. He kept it going as it travels out through the backs, then linking up there. Great football as they keep it moving through Jackson, and finally finished off almost with a forward pass there. Brilliant try to Kinner. The football out to Gilbert, the power of the man as he pushes through one, then starts to look for support as he comes to the final defence. A little step there, pulling in 2 men. The ball goes back to O'Sullivan. He cuts across field looking for the support. He knew that they had to be out wide there because Canterbury's defence had come in. Finally out to Jackson, and the final pass over in the corner.
So here's the attempted conversion goal. Matthew Corkery taking over the kicking duties. Ashley Gilbert still down in the back play after he got hit rather high as he got that ball away. That kick looks pretty good. What a great kick! Super kick from Matthew Corkery, and the Raiders have skipped away to lead early on. After just 5 minutes of play, it's the Raiders leading by 6 points to 0. Ashley Gilbert, though, I think is going to spend a few minutes in the sin bin, the head bin. He got hit very late, well, not so late, but very high, as he got that pass away that really did set up the first try. And he doesn't look well down there.
No, he's very groggy, and he got a high tackle, but he continued on, got the pass away, and we must congratulate the tremendous support play from the Canberra side, particularly Sam Bacco, who was able to give one of the passes there. He chased Gilbert upfield, was able to give the ball out, and a tremendous try to the
Oh, that was a high tackle. Folks is going to get called out here. He has to be. Brent Todd taken in a very high tackle, and now Dean Lance is obviously coming in and saying to referee Mick Stone, what about the other one on Ashley Gilbert? And Mick Stone's going to have to do something very quickly about this, because that's 2. Have a look at this. Perhaps that was only towards the top of the shoulders, but it's still 2 high tackles in 5 minutes.
Well, I thought it was around the neck, but I don't think there was any malicious intent in it. It wasn't a stiff arm, and rightfully so. I think Mick Stone allowed the play to go on with a penalty.
Now Canberra, they've really got their backs up at the moment, and that's Todd who's tackled. Only 18 metres out from the Canterbury line. The Raiders are in front 6-0. There's Bacco comes down the centre. He's still going. Look at Big Sam go, and he's almost got all the way. The big ex-North Queenslander's got it within a metre of the line. Steve Walters it is in a dummy half. They take their time to get up him. They've got the ball now. Henjack, away it comes to O'Sullivan. He's got it away to Walters. Now Kinner, he's got to run to the wing. He's come back on the inside though. They quickly regroup that time, the Canterbury defence. 12 metres out. Now that's Kevin Walters from dummy half. He's still going. Little Kevin Walters, he's almost in. He's almost over the line. Half a metre out. Brother Steve at dummy half as O'Sullivan chips it into the in goal area. Farrer is taken and Farrer's hammered into the deck. They were quickly up there that time, the Raiders. Play will restart with a line drop out. Still Canberra leading 6-0. Have a look at this again.
Well, it's tremendous pressure play by Canberra. They chip ahead, but well covered up by Andrew Farrer, who was in position for the kick, but pressure on with a line drop out.
Great defence from Dean Lance. Read that to perfection. Having a great game.
Les Morrissey's out there for Ashley Gilbert while he's in the head bin.
So here's Gary Belcher running it back. A great runner of the football. 35 metres out from this Canterbury line. Lance. Now that's Todd. Now interesting to note also, Mark, as we said, this hard Monday night game. Some of the clubs who've had to back up on the Saturday after playing on Monday night have said it's very hard to find their footing in the first 20 minutes or so.
Well, I think there's been 3 occasions and those sides have all lost, and that's significant in this game because Canberra, we saw the determination on their faces. They ran out and they're playing super football.
Here goes Kevin Walters. Back it goes to Henjack. Henjack for the line. Henjack's in. Try. Canberra in again. It's 10-0. Beautiful football from Canberra.
The crowd's gone mad here, the home crowd. Listen to the support they're giving and what football it is from the Raiders. A couple of Canterbury players are going to be laying in the mud here, watching Henjack disappear.
This is O'Sullivan.
O'Sullivan, it is the first tackle, pushing away from Folks. Gets it back inside. And then there was the second tackle. Out it goes to, finally, the halfback, Kevin Walters. Back it goes once more to Henjack, and he's over.
Well, it was Henjack who started it and Henjack who finished it. He's been playing at half-back, and, of course, we've had Kevin Walters out in the centres. Walters backed up, was able to get the ball, then back inside to the half-back who was backing up. Ivan Henjack, listed in the program as a centre. He's been playing half-back. His organisation has been the reason why the Raiders are so far in front after only, would you believe, 9 minutes.
So, 9 minutes gone. 6th try of the year for Ivan Henjack, who's hobbling back into position. He fell awkwardly. In fact, it seemed as if he might have twisted his ankle as Andrew Farrer came and tackled him. As Corkery now attempts to add the extras. Not even 10 minutes gone. Canberra leading 10 points to 0. Corkery comes in. There's the kick, and it's a shocker. So the score remains at 10 points to 0. Canterbury so far have missed 11 tackles.
The most significant factor is that when Canberra are making a break, the backup is tremendous. There are players everywhere calling for the ball, and the passes are really going to the finding the man.
So play restarts and Canberra bring it back through Big Sam Backo. Isn't he a huge man?
He is a huge man, and he's having a huge game already in the first 10 minutes. Well and truly over his over the top of his counterparts, Peter Tunks and Paul Dunn.
So Canberra running the ball up just outside their quarter line as Todd plays it blindside. It comes to Henjack. Henjack's kicked for touch, and he's found it on the 4th tackle. So they get the feed again. Warren Ryan. I don't think he will change that expression for much of the first half unless the Bulldogs score.
Well, very unemotional man at the best of times, but he's looking quite desolate at the moment.
You don't really blame him. He's had a very difficult week. The injury problem, and then the rain prevented him on Thursday night from getting with the team. Then finally having to make 3 late changes to his selected side. In fact, he didn't really select the team until they got to training last night.
Plenty of disruption to Canterbury, but with this kick, don't be surprised if they use the blind side effectively here. The blind side of the paddock is probably the least affected by the mud, and it's the chance for them to run that way.
So that's Whitfield running the ball up, the Englishman. 12 metres out from the Canberra Raiders line. Bugden away to Steve Mortimer. It goes across from Langmack. Now that's Gillespie. Gillespie stands and delivers, and it's Langmack, and away it goes again towards Hagan. Hagan's held up. Only about 13 metres out from that Canberra line. 11 metres in from the other touchline as it comes. Steve Mortimer blindside. Now that's Folks. Folks can't get his pass away. Dunn moves into dummy half. Dunn on his own. Big Paul Dunn. Dunn charges the line. He's held up on the 4th tackle a few metres out. Steve Mortimer. The pass. It's gone wild. I think Langmack's got there first. He's towed it through. O'Sullivan's got it. O'Sullivan's missed it. Belcher picks it up. Belcher on his hands and knees crawls back into the field of play.
Well, danger for both sides there, really. If Belcher had been able to pick that up and take it out wide, there was a chance there for the Canberra side.
Have a look at this again. The ball's loose. Now Langmack comes through, takes the odds to it, sockers it through, off the legs of the Canberra player. Now O'Sullivan has it, now he has it, now he's lost it. Belcher's there first, on his hands and knees. Look at that. Canberra leading by 10 points to 0. Henjak again, he's going to kick for touch and he's found it. Well, the weather really has been kind to us today. I'm certain that the Lord is looking on very happily this afternoon. As Ashley Gilbert comes back to the sidelines after spending that period of time in the head bin.
Sitting in the dugout here, the Canberra dugout, Ashley Gilbert looks like he's okay. Looked pretty clear-headed as he went back out.
Another penalty to Canterbury. Another scrum penalty. Now Mick Stone's talking to Ivan Henjak about it. And that's 2 scrum penalties in 2 scrums.
And Ivan doesn't look to be too happy about it, but don't be surprised if they do a swap if Ivan's in trouble at being sin bin for repeated infringements.
That's twice they've kicked for touch within the first 4 tackles and twice they've lost the advantage by giving away the penalty. Dunn takes it up for Canterbury. They're only about 8 metres out now, going from dummy half. Canterbury trying to bustle their way over. Is the hooker. Dunn again, away it comes now. That's Folks, and Folks is wrapped up. 6 metres out from that Canberra line. Steve Mortimer blindside very quickly away to Andrew Farah, and Farah's belted into the ground out there by Gilbert, Coyne and also Bacco. About 6 or 7 metres out as Bugden. Away it comes now. Steve Mortimer, the long pass. Peter Mortimer picked that up well. Beautiful half volley. The pass back to Steve Mortimer. Quickly it's gone away. It's come off the hands of O'Sullivan. Tunks has got there first. The referee says 6 to go. And Tunks gets up and plays it just outside the quarter line. Steve Mortimer, that long pass comes away to Tony Curry. Beautiful defence by Jackson right round his bootlaces. Campbell, now that's Gillespie. Gillespie's got his pass away. It's a loose one. Hagen's managed to pick it up. Back to the quarter line. They're finding trouble with their footing, especially in the centre of the field. Quick switch from Steve Mortimer. Back to Folks. Down the centre goes Steve Folks. And Folks only 12 metres away from the Canberra line. Bugden, blindsided, comes to Dunn. Dunn's got a lovely pass away to Gillespie. Gillespie's lost the ball. I think that Canberra have come up with it in the end, but the referee's going to put the scrum down, playing the advantage.
Yes, it was a good ball to Gillespie, and Gillespie simply dropped it. The Canberra side, Ivan Henjak just couldn't get it out of his own in-goal area, so he's decided to play the advantage to Canberra, give them the scrum feed, and of course now they've come up with the scrum win.
I'm just wondering whether the scrum feed wasn't advantage the way they've had the last couple, but at least they got it in and out that time. I don't think I've ever seen such a glorious day down here at Queanbeyan. Beautiful weather. Henjak goes the blind side. That gap closed very hurriedly. Look at Canterbury, they're just making far too many errors at this stage.
And many of those, of course, have been in the defensive line. We've seen some breaks already made, and Canberra have come up with 2 tries because of their tremendous support play. Canterbury are just not putting the attacking players from Canberra on the deck.
Hagen with the ball after they'd won it there, Canterbury. Farah standing in the tackle. Back it goes to Hagen. Jackson well read by Peter Jackson. Just outside that quarter line. Whitfield in a dummy half. Whitfield on his own. Good run from Whitfield. Good defence in the end from Henjak. Dunn's a dummy half. It comes the short side. Steve Mortimer, switch of play. Down the centre comes Langmack. And Langmack banged into the ground. It's loose and Canberra have come up with it. Bacco falls on the ball. Canberra have got it 12 metres out from their own line. Coyne.
Well, the amount of errors is shocking from Canterbury, and they're coming from their experienced players. We've seen Gillespie, Langmack and Folks make errors galore, and that's just not the normal Canterbury side.
Panic football, perhaps? Is the pressure getting to them?
Well, it must be. They've had a hard-fought game on Monday night against Eastern Suburbs. They got back into the game. They had the opportunity to win that at 20-all, and then they committed a silly error to allow East the 2 competition points, and now they've given Canberra a big head start, 10 points to 0, and I'm sure the Canberra Raiders will just make sure that they keep it, run it upfield for 5 and use the kicking game on the last.
Well, there's Henjak's kick, kicking it away from Farah, who had a bit of trouble with his footing, but he got a rather fortuitous bounce as he runs it back to the halfway, links up with Sandy Campbell, but good defence from Canberra. I think Farah thought that he managed to get through that hole. Langmack back to Campbell. And again, this Canberra defence, we talked about their attack today, their defence has been pretty solid.
Defence has been spot on.
Whitfield from dummy half, goes straight down the centre, back towards the halfway line. Steve Mortimer, the little chip and chase. Mortimer versus Belcher. Belcher's there first and Belcher gathers it in.
And Gary Belcher seemed to have so much time. Then good players always have time. Gary Belcher made it for himself. The Steve Mortimer chip over is always a dangerous factor in any game that Canterbury play in, and Belcher read it with ease.
22 minutes remaining in the first half. Canberra leading Canterbury by 10 points to 0 as Todd got under a high one there from Paul Langmack. I think Todd's lucky this one missed.
Yes, and referee Mick Stone saw it and just decided to allow play to go on. Possibly he knows that Canberra are able to make the break within the 6 tackles.
O'Sullivan plays it. Now that's Henjack. The switch comes back to Belcher. Belcher thought about the kick, but that was well read too by the Canterbury defence. Dunn was up there quickly with Langmack. O'Sullivan, last tackle that is against the Raiders, and O'Sullivan just kicks and finds touch. The scrum will go down. 10 points to 0 to score in favour of the Canberra Raiders. We've got 21 minutes left in the first half.
So far, the switch of Ivan Henjak into halfback seems to be working. He's been organising the play well, involved in that try a moment ago. So that change of moving Walters out to the centre is certainly working.
I think that Mick Stone just had a bit of a word to Langmack, and I dare say it was about that high tackle penalty against the Raiders, offside. It's against Dean Lance, in fact, for breaking from the scrum too early before the ball came out. So Canterbury will kick the touch.
And the penalties now read 3 apiece, but the scoreline, 10 points to 0 in favour of Canberra. Their attacking game is great, and we spoke about the switch between Walters and Henjack. I've been very impressed with the way Walters has defended out wide.
There's Tunks taking the ball up. He's a bit bigger than Ivan Henjack too, isn't he?
Yes.
Bugden, Dunn. Good defence again from Canberra as they hold the kangaroo prop up. Steve Mortimer, the long pass away from Hagan. Peter Mortimer, the long pass forced in the end to Campbell. Campbell versus Kinner. Kinner's got him, runs him across the touchline. Good football from Chris Kinner. Campbell thought he'd set him up and was going to get on the outside of him, but Kinner just ran him into the touchline and in the end has forced the scrum.
Well, when you consider it, the sideline is always the winger and the fullback's best friend. Kinner knew that he had hold of him there. He was able to let him run around, but then used the advantage of the sideline to push him over.
These scrums are having a lot of trouble with them. In fact, all of Canterbury's penalties have been scrum penalties. Canterbury's penalties, I should say. Canberra with the ball, 11 metres out from their own line as Dean Lance runs it up. Coyne. Canberra play it. Henjack. That long pass. O'Sullivan got it in the end, but that was good defence from Campbell. O'Sullivan, if he got that away quickly to Kinner, that could have easily been a lot of trouble for Canterbury. Henjack in quickly, realising that the 4th tackle was on, has found touch, and now he's down injured, Henjack again.
Well, I'll have to give the accolades to Sandy Campbell there. I thought he read the defence perfectly. He was in very quickly on O'Sullivan and was able to tackle him and ensure that the ball didn't go out further.
So they've got the ball here, Canberra. O'Sullivan to get up and play it. Lance in a dummy half. And the long pass comes away now. That's Belcher. Belcher, he couldn't get that ball around Peter Mortimer. The intention was there, or the thought. And there's another kick from Canberra. They found touch. It was Jackson.
Canberra are really working this kick into touch inside the 4 tackles in their own half to retain the feed to the scrum.
Well, it's good safety play, and Canberra are getting the ball from the scrum. We saw 2 early penalties, but now they've settled down. They've won the last couple of scrums. They're keeping possession, and they're making Canterbury work. I would like to see them vary in the kicking game, though, by putting a few deep ones down there. We've already seen Andrew Farrell lose his footing on a number of occasions, and certainly the chase and the enthusiasm of the Canberra side is evident.
Canberra with the ball just inside their own half as now they switch it back. It comes away now to Henjack. Henjack gets it away. It's Belcher with the ball. He can't get his pass away. He'd opened up the gap. Jackson had gone the other way. Now that's O'Sullivan. They've got it just inside Canterbury's territory. Steve Walters plays it. Henjack's kick. Now this one's for the grandstand touchline, but Farrah's safely underneath that. And he runs it back across the quarter line. Good run from Andrew Farrer. He's still going. What a good piece of football. Well, we've seen him twice now with that strength. Get through tackles. He's a very strong runner of the football. Mistake by Canterbury, and Steve Mortimer just manages to dive on it to clean it up after Tunks had gone without it. Now Gillespie from dummy half. Gillespie on his own. Can't get through the tackle of Coyne. Still just inside Canterbury's territory. The Bulldogs with the ball. They've lost it. Steve Walters comes up with the ball for Canberra.
Very good defence once again by the halfback come centre, Kevin Walters.
Dean Lance. Peter Mortimer up very quickly that time. They're trying to really put pressure on O'Sullivan, it seems, as the ball not played. And the referee's under. What's going to happen here? It's got to be a penalty to Canterbury. It's against O'Sullivan. Might have a look at this again.
It was interesting. He played the ball, but Chris O'Sullivan seemed to be looking at what he was going to do next with the ball.
And now here's Campbell with the ball. Campbell keeps it going. Steve Mortimer for the corner. Steve Mortimer looking for support. He's got it away. The ball's gone loose. And I think Canberra come up with it, but the referee's going to penalise them. The ruling's correct. Chris Kinner was definitely in front of the previous Canberra player who touched that ball. As Steve Mortimer's pass came back on the inside, it came off a Canberra hand. Kinner was in an offside position, but you can't really blame him. He had to take the odds to securing possession, and so Canterbury are going to have a shot at goal. And if there is a man on this field who can kick a heavy football a long distance, it's this man, Colin Whitfield. He kicks the way he did the other night. He'll kick this out into the Leagues Club.
It's almost a tragic mistake, Chris O'Sullivan at dummy half, not seeing the ball come back between his legs. And then, of course, Canterbury ending up with the penalty. All of a sudden, it's been all Canberra up till now. Then all of a sudden, Canterbury are down there shooting for goal.
I think they've taken a sensible decision, though, to kick for goal. I think they need to settle their play down. Steve Mortimer can have a talk to his players. They've certainly been lagging a little bit in the defensive aspect. Now they've got to just settle down, talk to each other, communicate, and make sure that they get back on the right track.
Colin Whitfield, there's Stevie Mortimer, puffing. He is puffing.
Well, he just made a very good break down the left-hand side. Unfortunately, there was no support, and the Canberra side has been supporting their players, but there, Canterbury had the chance, but there wasn't anybody within cooey of Steve Mortimer.
So here's Colin Whitfield, the chance to put the Bulldogs on the scoreboard. As he moves in, there's the kick. He's got it. 2 points to Canterbury Bankstown. Colin Whitfield, 1 from 1. And so 16 minutes remaining in the first half. And the Canberra Raiders are leading the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs by 10 points to 2. Well, Warren's so right. That little mistake by Chris O'Sullivan, and it turned into 2 points in the end for Canterbury.
It's going to be interesting to just see what happens in this section of play, because we saw how dangerous Canterbury can be. They suddenly took the opportunity, took play right down there, moved the ball wide. It's going to be interesting to see who gets on top now from this kick-off.
So there's the kick-off from Corkery. Farrer's going to gather it in the end goal. He runs it back towards his quarter line, and he's held up almost on the quarter line, his own end of the field. Bugden, away it comes, that's Hagan.
Now's the time for Canterbury not to worry about making extra yardage. Use the kicking game immediately and put Canberra under the defensive pressure.
So Langmack to get up and play it. 33 metres out from his own line. Now that's Bugden at dummy half. Steve Mortimer, he's going to kick for touch, and he's found it on the full tackle. And so the scrum will go down. 10 metres still in Canterbury's territory. Mortimer to put the ball into the scrum.
Well, it's tit for tat now. Steve Mortimer just trying to put that ball out, get the feed and gain possession again.
You can't blame teams for exploiting the rules to the full, but it's a fairly negative piece of football, really.
Oh, Andrew Farrer almost dropped that. So just for a moment, Steve Walters almost got the intercept. O'Sullivan affected the tackle. Let's have a look at this again.
Yes, he took it back in very well, Andrew Farrer. It was right out in front of him. He wasn't running out onto the ball, and then he had to scoop it back to him.
Canterbury with the ball just inside their own territory. Langmack's pass away now. They've got it back across the halfway line. So there's the errors at the moment. Canterbury just missing too many tackles. But they missed most of those in the first quarter of an hour. The last quarter of an hour or so, Canterbury really have improved quite markedly. And they must admit they have had a succession of penalties to help them, and there's another one.
Well, at one stage it read the penalties 3-0, I believe, and now it's 6-3 in favour of Canterbury. So we've seen 6 successive penalties to the Canterbury side. That's allowed them 1 goal and a possibility of another as Whitfield lines up this one.
So there's the distance Whitfield's kicking. What's that, about 36, 37 metres? Might even be 39 metres, let's say.
Let's split hairs and say 38.
Right. He's right in front. He has got this slight breeze with him, though, still.
The breeze is picking up. I think he should have no troubles with the distance.
And after seeing the way he's kicked since he's come out to Australia, he shouldn't have any trouble kicking at full stop. But gee, he's been impressive with his goal kicking and his general play, for that matter. Ashley Gilbert down, receiving attention yet again. He got hit very hard in that, he sent the pass away that set up Canberra's first try. So Whitfield, many people will remember his brother, Robin Whitfield, the referee.
And Steve Mortimer just giving him a little bit of a hand there by going up near the muddy patch and just softening it down, trampling on it, so that he doesn't have to run through the muddy patches.
Good thinking. That's called experience.
It sure is.
Here comes Whitfield. The chance to narrow the margin to just one converted try, and he's got it. What a great kick from Whitfield. And so with just 12 and a half minutes remaining in the first half, the Raiders have had that 10-0 lead whittled down to be just leading now by 6 points, 10 points to 4.
A little bit of the intensity's gone out of the Canberra play, but that's possibly because of the fact that they haven't had possession for quite some time. Canterbury applying the pressure by using the short kick, by putting it out, regaining possession, and making Canberra do the defensive work.
Farah taking the ball up after it was trapped by Folks, and Farah is tackled just outside his quarter line. Tunks runs it up. Tunks almost slipped over as he got to the defence. Bugden, Steve Mortimer, switch of play to Dunn, very quick hands away to Gillespie, marginally forward that pass. The referee, though, is back on the Canberra line, can't see everything, as Whitfield gets it, and that's a huge kick, but way out over the touchline on the full. It was a boomer of a kick, but it bounced about 3 metres over the touchline on the full. And is that the sort of little thing that just takes the pressure off Canberra and gives them a chance?
Well, here's the replay right from the centre of the field. He just really laid into that one, but unfortunately it's gone out by about 5 or 6 metres. And this gives Canberra a chance to apply the pressure inside the 22.
So there's O'Sullivan tackled just outside the Canberra quarter line. Henjak in a dummy half, taking it up as Jackson. Jackson hit very solidly there. That's a Folks special, that one. Right round the chest. Chris Mortimer lending assistance. Now there it is there as Gilbert's tackled, about 18 metres out from the Canterbury line. Bacco on his own, and Big Sam Bacco charging the line as tackled in the fourth tackle, just 12 metres out. Steve Walters in a dummy half, blindside, that's O'Sullivan. O'Sullivan still on his own, Steve Walters beautifully tackled there by Tony Curry. Last tackle against the Raiders. Now will they put the kick in? It's the little chip kick, it comes off a Canterbury player and Gilbert falls on it, and it's 6 to go. So Canberra can continue to apply the pressure. Steve Walters, Lance as it comes away. Now that's O'Sullivan, and O'Sullivan's made a meal of it. He's knocked that on. Had a little look, and so Canterbury will get the feet into the scrum and probably get the ball back.
Wasn't a very good pass there, but I noticed Peter Morton was up very quickly. Perhaps he had his eye on him just a little bit in that traditional umbrella defence, and the pressure has been let off by the Canberra side. So Canterbury, I would say they would not want to stay here. The ground is very, very muddy. We repeat again, they should be using the kicking game in order to get Canberra down in their end.
So 9 minutes left in the first half, and Canberra are leading Canterbury Bankstown by 10 points to 4. Mortimer with the ball, and he's trapped in the end by Bacco. Blindside. Steve Folks kicking for touch, and he's found it. 11 metres, still inside Canterbury's territory.
A little bit dangerously too, I thought there. Matthew Corkery could have had a go at that, and there was no one down the sideline.
There's the kick. And no one there at all. You see Corkery, the last man. If he'd got the right bounce, that's got to be a penalty. Well, you know, that was certainly in the second row, the original feed. Let's see where this one goes. It's come out Canberra's way, and they've got the penalty as well. Well, the first one was as blatant as you'll ever see.
Yes, he allowed him that one go, and then he penalised the hooker.
But the first one, I don't think I've ever seen one that blatant.
That one happened right in front of me here on the sideline, and there was no doubt that Steve Mortimer had to get that second one in if he wasn't going to give away a penalty, and he couldn't get it into the tunnel. There wasn't one.
It was the first time Canberra have got a penalty, though, in about quarter of an hour or so. Now what can they do with it? Steve Walters, Coyne's hammered into the deck, only about 5 or 6 metres out. Steve Walters moves to dummy half as he gets the ball away, goes on his own. That's Bacco down the centre, and Bacco almost forces his way over, and Sam Bacco will get up and play it. Only about 1.5 metres out there from those goalposts, taking his time to get up. Steve Walters, away it comes. It's O'Sullivan, away to Belcher. Belcher's away from one. Belcher spies the opening, still going. And Gary Belcher only 5 or 6 metres out from that Canterbury line. Steve Walters against the dummy half. It comes away from Henjack. Quickly it goes to O'Sullivan. O'Sullivan's in the opening. 9 metres out. Last tackle against the Raiders. Henjack's little grubber kick in behind the defence. Oh, Jackson, I think, scored. Jackson's got there first, and that's the super try. Oh, what's that for reflexes? Have a look at this again. Henjack, a beautiful kick. The Canberra Raider fans are going wild. They know now that they're a chance of being at the SCG come September. And this little try, this little kick, and the brilliant reflexes of Jackson. Have a look at this. Henjack's kick in behind the Canterbury defence, and look at Jackson. Brilliance. Read that to perfection. That is a super try and might be the one.
There was almost nothing the defence could do about it. It was a perfectly positioned kick. The understanding there with Jackson as he comes screaming through. Canterbury winger tried to cut it off, but he had no chance. Whitfield couldn't get there. Brilliant football by the two in combination. The little kick, perfectly judged, just the right distance. It only just crossed the try line, and Jackson was there to dive on it.
Matthew Corkery to have the kick, but Peter Jackson. There he is, 24 points this year, and none probably more vital than that particular try, which has given Canberra that 10-point lead again, with Corkery the opportunity to stretch it to 12. 12 metres in from the grandstand touchline, 2 metres outside the quarter line. An important kick. Of course, if this wind comes up in the second half, the Raiders should be right on top. There it is. It's swinging away, though. He's missed it. But still the margin is 10 points with 7 minutes remaining in the first half. Canberra leading Canterbury Bankstown by 14 points to 4. And the action man scored the try.
Whenever Canberra have had any possession at all, they've really caused Canterbury great problems. The only time throughout this half that they lost a little momentum was when those penalties started to go against them for a period of 5 or 10 minutes. And otherwise, it's been all Canberra.
Well, the crowd getting behind them now. And it's going to be a very hard and tough assignment now for Canterbury Bankstown to get back into this game.
What I think's happened with the Canberra attack is that they've realised that Peter Mortimer and Tony Curry are coming up very quickly. In that situation there, they chipped it behind those players, and the defence wasn't able to get there in time. But they've also done it in general play. The 2 other tries that have come outside first, then back inside.
So Henjack, you see the way he quickly got into positions to play dummy half and then decided to take the long kick downfield, and the ball running away from Farrah. As much as he tries to get it, almost put a foot into touch. He went ever so close to really overbalancing then and putting a foot into touch.
Yes, he went perilously close, and of course he touched the ball, and that would have been, of course, a feed to the Canberra side, but Farrah centimetres away.
And that would have been, what would someone say then, the perfect kick? I thought they were going to try the short kick for touch when Henjack came racing in, but in the end they decided to keep play down Canterbury's end of the field, and touch plays at Bugden. Away it goes towards Gillespie. Gillespie always seems to have got time to get the pass away. Very strong, David Gillespie. Steve Mortimer, last tackle against Canterbury. They're running the football as it comes to Folkes. Back it goes to Hagan. Hagan looks on the inside, throws the pass. Intercepted now by O'Sullivan. O'Sullivan's away from Folkes. He slipped over, he's still going. O'Sullivan's still going. Look at Chris O'Sullivan go as it comes away now to Henjack. Henjack tries to get away from Tunks and can't do so. But the Raiders, they're really on fire at the moment. Corkery at dummy half as away it comes towards Jackson. Jackson stands and decides to go on his own. Just outside that Canterbury quarter line.
Gary.
Towards centre field, and this will be a penalty. Paul Dunn. Dunny has given away the penalty right in front of the post. 24 metres out, and Corkery will have the shot at goal.
Peter Jackson wanted to throw that ball out wide. There was the overlap, a chance for Canberra to go running through for another possible try, but Gary Coyne was in his way and he was forced to run it straight up. Subsequently, the penalty's given and Canberra could go 12 in front.
We'll have a look at this again. This is the intercept. Now that's Hagan. Now that's the floated pass. Now O'Sullivan grabs it. Now, just for a fleeting moment, he was in the clear. Now, watch him. He'll get away from folks here, under the high tackle, and then he slips over. Otherwise, he may well have been on his way to the try line. But look at this now, though.
He still gets away from two other players and sets up Ivan Henjak. So great play.
Incredible upper body strength for a little man. Always seems to have an ability to shrug off defenders. Now, Matthew Corkery. This is not an easy kick because the ball's a little bit heavy now. It's not a hard one either. Banged over such a great one to start the day. Been a little bit offline since as he moves in. There it is from Corkery. That struck even worse. And so play will restart for the 22-metre dropout.
It's a funny position he places the ball there. I just noticed in the replay, in the actual picture, that he tends to lay the ball a little bit forward instead of placing it straight up as a round-the-kicker style kickers usually do.
It means that when he's striking it, he's almost slicing the ball like a golfer.
If anything, you'd think he'd lay it back towards him.
As Belcher runs it up towards the halfway line, and that's Corkery who's tackled on the halfway. Considering they've missed, 3 shots at goal, it could easily at the moment have been 16 up, of course. That pass, a beautiful one from Baggo to Steve Walters. Steve Walters still going. This was a good performance from Canberra. They're all over Canterbury like a rash, but he's lost that ball in the tackle. And the scrum will go down just outside the Canterbury quarter line.
Beautiful ball here from Sam Bacco. He's really been strong up front, and here he was able to slip the one-hander away, and Steve Walters did very, very well to get away from 2 defenders.
So Canterbury with the ball, and that's Farah. He got that one away well. Now this is Whitfield. He's run out of room, though. Good defence from Canberra. 2 minutes left in the first half. Peter Mortimer, away it goes to Steve Folkes. And Folkes has chopped down 12 metres still in Canterbury's territory. 12 metres in from touches. Bugden goes the blind side, and Bugden's tackled. 2 metres still inside Canterbury's territory as it comes from Dunn to Steve Mortimer. Away it goes to Gillespie, but Gillespie beautifully tackled. That was Henjak right round the bootlaces. O'Sullivan over the top that time. But Peter Mortimer does pretty well to grab hold of that pass. Last tackle against Canterbury. As it comes away, Steve Mortimer. Mortimer puts the kick in. Belcher right underneath it, straight down his throat. And Belcher running it back across the quarter line, straightens up, looks for a patch of ground where it's probably not even, or not that muddy, so he can see if he can continue on with his run. Can't do so.
There definitely seems to be some confusion in the Canterbury lineup as far as getting a good kick away on the 5th tackle. That was a poor kick, and recently they had the intercept on the 5th tackle.
Well, there we are, the siren in the back play. The whistle goes from referee Mick Stone, and a half of football that the Canterbury fans and Warren Ryan would probably wish to forget, but a half of football that all of these Canberra Raiders supporters would hopefully continue in the second half and take them on their path towards the Sydney Cricket Ground. A great half of football for the Raiders, 3 tries to none. They go in at the break leading by 14 points to 4.
Game, keep Canterbury down in their territory, then they should win quite comfortably.
Okay, Mark Levy in the commentary position with me today. Shortly we'll go down to the sidelines and hear from Warren Boland as we're about to see the second half kick off. And as Warren said at the beginning of the game, it was a bit of a surprise that Canberra ran into the wind in the first half. But now that we look at the flags on top of the scoreboard, it does seem to indicate that the wind has picked up a fraction here in this second half. And there you have a look. The wind has picked up just a fraction, and if it does pick up any more, the decision to run against the wind in the first half will be one that will receive rave notices.
Well, it definitely will. They've got a 14-4 advantage, and they've scored 3 tries to 0. They've used the kicking game effectively. They've supported. They've thrown the ball around, and they've been able to keep possession for long periods of time. It's incredible the amount of errors that Canterbury have had. The handling errors 10-2, and the missed tackles 21-9. So certainly Canberra have the better of play. Canterbury have a lot to do.
So there we are, those errors. I know there's a few people back in Sydney who even keep their own record of stats every Saturday afternoon. I know one fella, Sambo, will be there, busily riding away, especially those scrums and penalties.
And he's possibly able to tell Graham Roberts a thing or two as well.
Let's go down to the sideline now, and here's Warren Boland.
No injury problems in either team at this stage of the match. The main message from the Canterbury, we'll just go back to the game for a moment.
Steve Mortimer, the chip ahead, the race is on. Henjak versus Mortimer. Who's got the ball in the end? Henjak comes up with it, and Canberra have got it down towards their own quarter line as Corkery runs it away. Let's go back to Warren.
the main message in the Canberra dressing room. Wayne Bennett was doing most of the talking. He said, Canberra have a winning lead, just maintain it. Keep the opposition from scoring, plenty of discipline, no silly penalties. That's the key to maintaining the winning lead. From the Canterbury dressing room, the main message was that the forwards have to make ground before the team can move the ball anywhere. So the forwards have to make ground and to continue using that short kick on the fourth tackle to get the feed at the scrum.
So there's the kick from Jackson, forcing the ball right down towards Canterbury's goal line. Farah picks it up, and Farah gets away. That's a good run from Andrew Farah. The experiment to play him at fullback certainly paid off. You can't blame him at the moment for being down 14-4.
He's had a very good game. The danger man, of course, is Steve Mortimer, and already we've seen him with the little chip and chase. Ivan Henjak was the man that recovered from that situation, and Henjak's been involved in 2 of the tries. At the moment, he'd be leading any man of the match award.
Canterbury with the ball. Well, you just saw David Gillespie running around almost like a chook with his head cut off for a moment, looking for the gap. They've got 6 to go here, Canterbury, after that ball had been touched by a Canterbury player, by a Canberra player. Now Tony Curry racing up to the halfway, Peter Mortimer with it. Mortimer being forced to the ground just inside Canberra's territory. Kevin Walters the defender as they bring it back the open side. Now that's Curry again. Curry on his own. He's slipped the pass away. Hagan it is who's been tackled just inside Canberra's territory. 3 minutes gone in the second half, and the Raiders lead the Bulldogs by 14 points to 4. Canterbury with the ball. Midway half and quarter line inside Canberra's territory as Dunn takes it up, and he's tackled now 11 metres out from the quarter line. Down Canberra's end of the paddock is Steve Mortimer. Langmack the pass away. It comes from Hagan. Now it's with Curry. Curry down to the quarter line. He's got it away to Campbell. Campbell's got inside Kinner, and he's lost the ball as he tried to get the pass away to Langmack. It should be a scrum. He saw Langmack there in open spaces. As he tried to get the ball away, the defence of O'Sullivan and Belcher was too good.
Well, it's good play by Campbell. He came in, unfortunately, just as he was about to throw the ball. It was knocked down, and he fell on it, so the scrum was forced. But Canterbury making a few inroads into the Canberra defence, and this is danger time for the Canberra side. If they can hold out for the first 15 minutes or so, they should win the match.
Well, it's always the danger time when you're playing Canterbury, just before and just after half-time, and they managed to weather the storm just before half-time. As Belcher's now tackled. Bit of feeling in the game as the defence came in. I think that's Paul Dunn who comes in with a very solid piece of defence over the top. That's a good-looking kick from Canberra. It's going to go into touch, but it'll finish up in the in-goal area. So that's almost the perfect kick, as now it's picked off there by Farah, and Farah's hammered into the ground by good chasing.
The important thing was the chase, and I was a little bit disappointed in Andrew Farah. He just ambled back to that ball. He had plenty of time. He should have really chased after it. It gave the opportunity for Canberra to get up there very quickly, and they're stuck 10 metres out from their own line.
So Campbell's tackled 11 metres out from the Canterbury line. There's a good piece of defence from Ashley Gilbert that time as Tunks runs strongly. Can he get the pass away? He does. Now that's Gillespie. He can't get his pass away, although Bacco came in and gave him one to go on with. 10 metres out from the Canterbury line. Been a fair bit of feeling in this game as Hagan is going to find touch or Willie. It's not a good kick. Kinner gets back. Kinner gets the ball, and so Canberra have got it. And that can be the danger of trying that short kick on the first 4 tackles. But if you don't find touch, you put a lot of pressure on yourself, because Canberra have got the ball only 30 metres out from the Canterbury line.
Well, we saw in the first half, I thought there was a chance to Matthew Courtney if he really had an attempt at it down the left-hand touchline. And this time back this way, we've found Canterbury not picking up the touchline, and we're back to the 22-metre line.
Coyne just outside that 22-metre line. Steve Walters, Henjak, away it comes now to Jackson. Jackson standing in the tackle, can't deliver the pass though. 4th tackle against the Raiders. Steve Walters again at dummy half. Steve Walters on his own, throws the dummy. Oh, that's good defence. It was Gillespie, and also involved in that was Steve Folkes. Last tackle. Now O'Sullivan thought about the field goal, now goes on his own. O'Sullivan still going, away to Dean Lance. Lance almost in the clear, he is. It's Kinner for the corner. Kinner can't get the ball down. In fact, he's going to be tackled half a metre out, and it's going to be, the referee is calling for the handover as Chris Kinner almost managed to get that ball over the line. How close can they go to scoring a try?
Very close. Chris O'Sullivan, I'm sure, was looking for the field goal attempt. The Canterbury defence held off him. He ran back. Possibly there was even a hint of a shepherd in it, but he got away from it, and it went out to Dean Lance, and then Lance broke a tackle. I think of Folkes again, was able to get it out to Kinner. Unfortunately, Kinner, who came inside, did everything but get over the line.
Good defence that time too from Campbell and Curry. Another mistake from Canterbury. Poor piece of football. That time it was Whitfield. Not that he's made many errors today. I think that's his first.
No, well, he hasn't seen much of the ball, and he certainly has kicked for goal pretty well.
Ball into the scrum, and it's won by Canberra, so the pressure's on the Bulldogs again as O'Sullivan running around, looking for that gap. Can't give him any space, O'Sullivan. This long-serving Canberra Raider has been scoring so many tries for the Raiders since they came into the comp way back in 1982. Now they've lost the ball. Canterbury come up with it. Farah runs it out from his own goal line area, really. He's still going, Andrew Farah. Back to the quarter line. That's a good run. Mal Meninga leaning up against the fence down near the sideline.
He'd be a fairly disappointed man that he couldn't be on the paddock, but he'd be happy that the Raiders are so far in front against their nemesis team, Canterbury Bankstown.
Quickly the ball going across that Canterbury back line. Good football from Campbell as he came back on the inside. Curry going to the touchline. Campbell quickly realised there was no room there. Pinched another couple of metres. Folks up over the halfway. Last tackle against Canterbury. They've got it just inside Canberra's territory as it comes to Steve Mortimer. Blindside, it goes away to Tunks, and that pass away to Langmack. The ball then comes off Jackson's feet across the touchline. The scrum will go down, and so Canterbury will put the ball into the scrum.
There's a fair bit of worry about the sixth tackle for the Canterbury side. They just don't seem to know what to do with it, either to throw the ball around or to kick. That time Langmack just kicked out of sheer frustration, and he was lucky that it came off Jackson so that they'll get the feed.
In fact, I thought he deliberately kicked for the legs the way he kicked that ball. So he's got it's good thinking because they've got the ball back after they've won the scrum, and that's Farah who's tackled just inside Canberra's territory. Hagan a dummy half, away to Langmack. He's held that pass up for Peter Mortimer, who's back on the inside. 35 metres out from that Canberra line. Now Tunks takes it up. Tunks goes straight and hard. The ball's come loose. Dunn's got it. In fact, both teams had a chance at picking it up. Knock on, says the referee.
Ivan Henjak is injured. He's limping across to the scrum now, but he's taken a knock on the leg. And warming up on the sideline is Paul Martin for Canberra.
Paul Martin, an up-and-coming junior, who is very highly rated by the Canberra club. A young man with loads of potential and loads of ability. Canberra have got the ball. Dorkery. Good defence from Peter Mortimer, and across also there was Steve Folkes. Steve Walters going, I should say Kevin Walters from dummy half. He's almost got it back to the halfway line. He'll play it to his brother Steve, and Steve decides to go on his own. He's got it back to Kevin Walters, who can't get the pass away. Yes, he can. Oh, they've gone without it. O'Sullivan had the last touch and couldn't grab it. Now Curry has it for Canterbury, and Curry, he's got it away to Campbell, up to the halfway line. He's still standing in there, but can't get that pass away. There's the pass continuing on. Steve Walters almost got it. O'Sullivan almost had it, and then it went loose.
In fact, I think poor old Chris O'Sullivan got in Steve Walters' way there, and that was the reason why they dropped it. I thought on the second go then Walters would have got it back, but unfortunately O'Sullivan in the way, Canterbury with the break.
And now Dunnett is running it up the field, and Dunn's tackled about 32 metres out from that Canberra line. They go the blind side. Now they switch it back the open. Steve Mortimer, away it comes to Langmack, the dummy, but that's good defence. That's solid and good defence, that. Good ball and all tackling skills. That was Gilbert. And now that pass comes out to Curry and he's knocked it on. Wasn't a good pass under the conditions, and he almost did a brilliant performance in scooping it up.
The tough, swarming defence of Canberra is absolutely frustrating Canterbury. They just can't get their attack moving at all because of the defence. It's moving up so quickly. There's no let-up at all from Canberra.
Ivan Henjak coming off. And what a great game the little man's had. He was in everything in the first 50 minutes of the match. In fact, we've got 30 minutes remaining, so Henjak's been on there for 50 minutes. That leg injury, he hurt it when he scored the try. He seemed to have copped another knock on it in the second half, and so he's been replaced by Paul Martin. But I'm certain that every Raider fan, as you would agree, Mark, would applaud the little man's performance. He has been absolutely sensational.
Well, for mine, he was the best player on the field in those 50 minutes up until the time he came off. He was involved in 2 tries. He had the kicking game online. He was combining very, very well with Chris O'Sullivan, who's the other danger man in this Canberra back line, and a superb performance.
So the touch has been found, and they're taking it up this time, the Raiders, through Todd. When Todd's tackled, only about 35 metres out from that Canterbury line, though. Kevin Walters, Chris O'Sullivan, Canterbury defence up very quickly. defence of both sides today has been pretty good, except of course when Canterbury did allow Canberra in for 3 tries.
Well, they've made something like 22, 23 missed tackles, and I think possibly half of those or 3/4 of those came in the opening 10 minutes when 2 tries were scored.
That's Jackson who's tackled, at 35 metres out from that Canterbury line. Canberra leading Canterbury 14 points to 4. 28 minutes left in the match. Last tackle against the Raiders. Kevin Walters gets up. That's brother Steve in a dummy half as it comes away now towards Jackson, who hoisted high in the air. It's coming down almost on the goal post. Farah takes it well. Farah takes it in the in-goal area, then runs it back across the touch and across the goal line. And I've just thought for a moment the referee was about to say the 22-metre touch. Now, where did he actually take the ball?
Well, I thought he took it in, actually in goal, and he looked up at the referee and said, I want the 22-metre tap kick, and I thought rightfully so he should have got it. The referee Stone said, play on.
I must admit that's why I hesitated, because I expected that was going to be the decision, and that was rather unlucky as far as the Canterbury side are concerned, but now Canterbury are going to get the feed into a scrum just outside their own quarter line. Yes, that rule is that if they take the bomb, or that up and under on the full in the in-goal area, play will restart with the side taking or defusing the bomb with the tap kick from the quarter line. So they may have been unlucky in not gaining 22 metres out of that, but they've got it 22 metres out now, and that's Curry. And Curry's got that pass away as it comes to Whitfield. Whitfield's up to the halfway line, and good tackling from Belcher. And Whitfield actually lost that ball, I thought, as he gets up and plays it. And now they're continuing the movement through Curry. Curry's down to the quarter line and he's chopped down 24 metres out from the Canberra line as he gets up and plays it. Now it's with Steve Mortimer. They switch it quickly, the blind side. They're going without it as Langmack. Langmack, he's lost the ball. Stacks on the mill, both sides trying to juggle for that loose ball, and Canberra have come up with it.
Well, the opportunity for Canterbury was on the left-hand side, and Steve Mortimer switched the play where the Canberra defence was. And I think it's just been happening too much today with Canterbury. They haven't been able to throw the ball. Instead, they've been turning it back inside to where the Canberra defence is strongest.
It's noticeable how little Tony Curry, for example, have seen of the ball. He really injects some pace into this back line, but he hasn't been getting it with any room to move.
Canberra across the halfway line again. 26 minutes left in the match. Canberra leading 14-4. Kevin Walters with the ball. Last tackle against Canberra as it comes now towards O'Sullivan, and O'Sullivan's going to kick. And he puts it in behind Campbell. Farah has to come a couple of metres out from his own goal line, runs it up himself, and he's almost got through that defence. It was good defence in the end, but Chief Farah's been strong today. Quickly moved across that Canterbury back line. It comes to Peter Mortimer, but again the defence is too good. Whitfield with the ball. 20 metres out now from his own line. He'll play it to Hagan. Steve Mortimer almost intercepted that pass. Done with the ball. The defence arrived at the same time. He had no chance at all to do anything then. It was good football from Bacco. Dummy half. It's going on his own Bugden.
I don't think Sam ever had any inkling of taking the intercept. He was happy to take the player out, and I think safety first for Canberra is the go.
Now Canterbury with the ball, and that's Folks who's put the kick in. The ball, the bounce is not going to favour Canterbury. It's Belcher who gathers it in that very muddy area. He tries to run it away from Curry. Can't do so. Hagan up there in support. 33 metres out from that Canberra line as Kinner goes from dummy half. He's away from Curry. Can he get away from Folks? No, not too many do. Coyne. Now Corkery deciding to go for a gallop.
I like the way Steve Walters has been dictating play from dummy half. He's been having a few dashes himself and just directing the play from there, and it's a fine percentage football.
Just inside Canberra's territory, Steve Walters. Away it comes now to Kevin Walters. O'Sullivan, the quick pass. And now good football from Gilbert. He floats it over the top. Now that's Martin. Now look at this young man go. He's got a lot of speed, Paul Martin. The pass back on the inside. Dunn can't gather it. I'm certain someone called for it, but he should have kept it going to Kinner.
It should have been passed on the outside. Not only was Kinner there, but Chris O'Sullivan and Jackson was there as well.
Well, there's the pass back on the inside. No doubts, though, that someone called for it, and I wouldn't mind betting that it was a Canterbury player who called on the inside.
Oh, yes, I think so, and rightfully so, because there was danger on the right-hand side, what with Chris O'Sullivan and Chris Kinner there, and Jackson lurking in the background.
And there was an attempt at intercept by O'Sullivan that didn't come off. The referee says play on, though.
Knock on by O'Sullivan, I would have said.
I would have thought so. Well, they got away with that. Lance. Let's have another look at this. Well, that might have been a very good decision by Mick Stone. Isn't it amazing? That really did look as if there's a floated pass that almost finished up with Whitfield, and now Corkery's done well. Corkery over the quarter line. Corkery versus Farah. Corkery around Farah, and Corkery's in. What a brilliant individual try. And they've certainly secured a position in the top 5 at this moment, because they've got the ball point, the ball game all parcelled up this afternoon. Canberra are leading Canterbury 18-4. And what a brilliant piece of individual football that was. Have a look at this again. And there's the pass. It's Kevin Walters away. Jackson's floated pass just when it looked as if Whitfield might get to the ball first and bring up an intercept. Now Corkery, he's away from one. He sprints away from Peter Mortimer, across the quarter line, comes to Farah. Look at that. Beautiful in and out. Thank you very much. That's a good try.
When Jackson threw this pass over the top, I thought back to Wayne Bennett's words at half-time about lack of discipline, because he put a lot of pressure on Corkery, but he shrugged off the tackle, steps back inside and then turns on the pace. This is his 11th try of the season, and what a flyer. He just goes all the way, but then the magnificent sidestep there at the end to leave Andrew Farrell behind. In the heavy conditions, it's hard for Farrell to make a tackle like that when he's got to take him head on. And celebrations among Canberra, and why not? Because they've got this game parcelled up, even though there's 23 minutes to go. 18 points to 4 with a kick to come.
Well, Matthew Corkery showed everything there. He span out of a tackle, he stepped, and then he showed enormous pace, but the footwork at the end was absolutely magnificent. So Matthew Corkery, there's no doubt why he scored 11 tries this season. He is simply a brilliant player. Showed all the skills. Andrew Farrah must be shaking his head. He's had a very, very good game, and then he's been stood up in a magnificent run by Matthew Corkery.
I really thought that there's no chance of him scoring when he came at Farah, but that was great football. Gary Belcher taking over the goal-kicking duties. It's straight, but it's not straight enough. And so, as Ashley Gilbert's coming to the sideline, Gary Belcher goes back to fullback. And so 4 tries to Canberra as they lead Canterbury 18 points to 4. And that try scored 27 minutes into the second half. The crowd, mostly green and white.
Les Morrissey coming on for Ashley Gilbert. I'm not surprised to see Ashley Gilbert leave the field, because he was looking pretty tight. So Sam Bacco out there looking a little tight, though Gilbert has been still turning it on right to the last moment.
Well, there was the kick-off. The referees ruled that Belcher knocked that on.
Canberra have only kicked 1 goal from 5 attempts, and just think of what the score could have been had they made sure that their goal kicking was spot on today.
If they'd been able to do that, to us another 8 points, would have been 26-4. Canterbury, though, with a chance to get back into the game as Hagan going straight down the centre. Hagan almost pirouetted out of that last tackle. He's only a couple of metres out from that Canberra line. Langmack, it comes to Tunks. Tunks with strength trying to get his arms free and deliver the pass. Can't. The ball comes away. Bugden, Steve Mortimer, cuts out Peter Mortimer. Curry for the corner. It goes to Campbell. Campbell slips over, though, as he tried to come back on the inside of Kinner. Jackson's down injured, charging the line, Peter Mortimer, and Peter Mortimer's held up in tackle number 5. Canterbury charging at the Canberra line at the moment. Steve Mortimer, it comes to Dunn. Dunn trying to force his way over. He's into the end goal, but the referee says held up. And so Dunny still hasn't scored a first-grade try with Canterbury.
Superb work by Paul Dunny, ran onto the ball, but look at the defence come from everywhere. Canberra desperate to keep their line intact, to make sure that the Canterbury side doesn't score this afternoon. That was beautiful defence by 3 players.
Amazingly enough, since Paul Dunn left Eastern Suburbs at the beginning of 1986, he still hasn't scored a try in first grade. He scored 1 in the City versus Country game and scored 1 in reserve grade for Canterbury a couple of weeks ago.
Well, if ever he had the opportunity to do so, that was it. I thought he might have dived when he got to about 2 metres out from the line, but super defence up front.
Hasn't this man had a big game for Canberra this afternoon, Coy?
What crucial defence it was to hold out that try, because Canterbury is still in this game. I suppose they're 14 points behind, but 20 minutes remaining. If they'd scored that try, it was near the post, would have closed that gap. And we saw last week St George, after playing the Monday match, came home quite strongly in the last 20 minutes, and you couldn't put that past Canterbury.
So there's the kick from Jackson. It looks to be a pretty good one, but it's bouncing well for Andrew Farrah as he runs it back towards Kevin Walters, who's the first one up. Walters is pushed off. Martin isn't, though, and nor is Morrissey. Farrah to get up and play it 18 metres out from that Canterbury line. what a performance this has been this afternoon. I'm just wondering how much that Monday night game has flattened Canterbury, the injury worries. But let's give credit to this Canberra side. They must have been desperately unhappy and feeling a little bit cheated last Sunday afternoon when Lance was sent off and then exonerated, and that could have possibly cost them the 2 Winfield Cup points. This afternoon, they really have played like a team inspired.
Well, Warren Ryan said during the week that he thought that Canberra were definitely the better side for 90% of the game against Manly last week. Dean Lance unfortunately sent off, then exonerated, and now we see them bounce back with a vengeance. Their attack has been excellent today, their support play, but their defence has been crippling too, and that's worried Canterbury. They're a frustrated side. They have to play catch-up football now with only 18 minutes to go, and unfortunately, I can't see them breaking this Canberra line.
Kevin Walters, the pass is away, O'Sullivan. Now that's Jackson, the short pass to Belcher. Well read though by Curry, and Curry takes Belcher. And now this is going to be a penalty.
Paul Langmack, it's against. He just tackled the man without the ball. Very, very frustrated, Paul Langmack. He's come up with a few errors this afternoon, and here he is going after a man who was not in possession of the ball. Rightfully so, the referee's penalised him, and Gary Belcher's going to have an attempted goal.
22 minutes into the game, into the second half. 18 minutes left to go. Belcher coming up to have the shot at penalty goal.
Problem for Canterbury today has been that the defence has simply silenced Peter Tunks and Paul Dunn. They haven't been able to make a break. They haven't been slipping those passes away, the ones we know Peter Tunks can get away. The defence has just been so strong in the middle that Canterbury have not been able to turn them around to give themselves any room to create the attacking brilliance that they do have.
So Gary Belcher moving up to have the shot at goal. There's Wayne Bennett in the commentary box. Still obviously very pensive. One would think in his heart fairly pleased with his very good performance this afternoon.
Yes, and we've seen Canterbury commit over 30 defensive errors this afternoon, and how often do you see that in a Warren Ryan coach side?
Here comes Belcher moving in. The shot at penalty goal is another shocker. It's into the in-goal area. He can't even kick it dead. They really have got some worries. We talked about missing Mal Meninga earlier. They really have missed him in the goal-kicking sphere. The score, though, they haven't really needed those penalty goals yet. Canberra leading Canterbury 18 points to 4. They've only kicked 1 out of 6 so far this afternoon, and that was the first attempt of the afternoon when Matthew Corkery converted the Chris Kinner try, and it was a magnificent kick right from the touchline. Canterbury with the ball, and this is the defence we're talking about. Now finally they're trying to open something up here, Canterbury through Folks, but again, even when they get into a half gap, the Canberra Raiders close it very quickly.
Yes, well, I thought it was a half gap. Maybe that was right, but Paul Langmack came back this way when there were a 3-man overlap on the other side.
Tony Curry clapping on the speed up over the halfway. Curry almost into the clear. Kevin Walters in cover. The pass comes back to Hagan. Back it goes. No, Hagan decided not to throw it, and the ball's gone loose and it's been picked up by Chris Kinner. Now Kinner going for a dash down the left touchline, and he's tackled 34 metres out as Hagan, I thought, was going to give it back to Curry. And then in the end, in the defence, he lost the ball, and there's another great run from Corkery.
Well, there's no doubt that Michael Hagan should have sent it back inside to Curry, because Curry also had a man backing up inside, but Hagan did the wrong thing. He didn't throw the ball, and here's a chance for Canberra.
And here they go, Gary Belcher. Belcher, the pass comes back to O'Sullivan. O'Sullivan can't get away from Dunn. The pass has gone loose. Kevin Walters picks it up, and Kevin Walters is taken to the ground. Only about 13 metres out. It's going from dummy half. It comes away to Jackson, to Coyne, and Coyne will score. Coyne's in. Gary Coyne has scored the try. Superb football from Canberra. If you back up the man carrying the football, you must score tries, and that's exactly what Canberra have done this afternoon. Basic fundamental football, but they've executed it with the outstanding achievement where they're leading by 18 points. Look at this, bang. Even bumped Steve Folks off in the end. Now there's Belcher. The pass comes back towards Chris O'Sullivan. This was the movement. O'Sullivan trying to get away from Dunn. Flicks the ball up. Ball goes loose. Kevin Walters gathers it in. Walters is taken into the ground. Only a few metres out, though, from that Canterbury line. Steve Walters, his brother. The pass comes away. That's Jackson. Back on the inside as Coyne. And look at this. Even bumped off Steve Folks to score the try. And look at that. Jackson and Coyne. Two former Queenslanders. Another one comes in, Kevin Walters.
came as a result, of course, of a Canterbury's mistake up the Gary Coyne's third try for the season, but it came obviously from a Canterbury mistake right up the other end of the field. Michael Hagan failed to give the ball inside when the chance was on for a try for Canterbury. The error came, and then Canberra went right down that left-hand flank. They just kept backing up the man with the ball and came up with the try to Gary Coyne.
That try scored with just 15 minutes remaining in the game, 25 minutes into the second half. And Belcher to try and convert the try from right on the touchline, 24 metres out. Not an easy kick as he moves in. He struck that one a lot better. Look at this one for a kick. He's got it. One up, one down. The referee says no. Oh. Well, he might have been a bit unlucky with that one.
Well, what a disappointment for him. That was his third attempted goal, and that's 3 misses, but he struck that one beautifully. Unfortunately, the referee, who is the arbitrator after there's one up and one down, decided not to give it to him. 22 points to 4. Gary Coyne, of course, was the try scorer, and look at his tackle count too. Gary Coyne, the top tackler, with 22.
So there's the restart, with Canberra leading by 22 points to 4, and Belcher it is who rings it back to the quarter line. Of course, next weekend, Canberra take on South Sydney at Redfern Oval on the Sunday. What a great game that should be. On Saturday, we'll be down at the Endeavour Field again as Matthew Corkery goes for another good gallop.
I have never seen Steve Folkes miss as many tackles as he has today. I wonder if he's suffering from a blow or from an injury.
I just wonder whether a few of these players might be a little bit wounded still from that hard game on Monday night, but the Canberra defence hasn't missed when they've had their share of tackling to do either. Jackson's kick in behind Campbell. Campbell getting back. Well, he had a grab at it and managed to get it in the end. But this is an area where Canberra have been superb this afternoon. When the kicks have gone in, they've chased.
Well, that's the only way. If you're going to employ a kicking game, as Canberra have done this afternoon in muddy conditions, the right tactics and the chase has got to be on, and they've done it so perfectly this afternoon.
So they get a penalty here, Canterbury, for Coyne being offside.
It's going to be a real test of character here for Canterbury. They need to perform well in this last 10 minutes, certainly not let the score get any worse, because coming into the semi-finals, which at the moment there's no certainty they'll be in the semi-finals, they've got to put on a better show than this.
Canterbury taking the ball up. That's Dunn who's going to play it. Still just inside Canterbury's territory. They need 3 converted tries to even get a draw here. As Peter Mortimer is tackled 10 metres out from that Canterbury quarter line. It comes away now. Langmack. The ball pass comes back to Folkes. Folkes has got that pass away. Somehow that was picked up well then by Hagan. He plays it still just inside Canterbury's territory. Tunks takes it up. Tunks the pass offloaded to Langmack, who's hit by Morrissey to Dunn. Away it comes to Mortimer. Peter Mortimer up over the halfway. Back on the inside is Campbell. Somehow he got that. It goes back to Dunn. On it goes to Steve Mortimer. Away it goes to Curry. Curry almost in the clear. He's got a lot of speed. He's got it away to Hagan. Hagan standing, looking, finding it went back from Farah. Now it's with Folkes. Folkes trying to get the pass away, but great defence from O'Sullivan. Lance was back there as well as they keep it going. That's Tunks, the pass away. Steve Mortimer. Steve Mortimer can't get through that tackle. The ball is quickly played. Last tackle against Canterbury. As quickly it comes away from Farah. It goes to Curry. They should score here. And Curry, he's lost the ball. And they've got it through Corkery and back into the field of play. And the Raiders will play it. Curry couldn't score the try.
Magnificent tackle by Kevin Walters in defence. He's absolutely thrown himself at Tony Curry, who looked certain to score. Curry couldn't get it. The only option was to throw it away, and Canberra come up with possession. Beautiful tackle by Kevin Walters.
And there's the other angle of it. Look at that. What a try. What a try-saving tackle. And then again, Corkery doing well, got the pass and even got away and shrugged off the defence to get back into the field of play. Jackson plays it. Belcher kicks for touch. He hasn't found it though.
You suggested it was a dangerous tackle. I suppose when you're 22 points in front, 22 points to 4 in front with only 9 minutes to go, you can be a little bit lethargic, but that wasn't a very good effort by Gary Belcher.
As now we've got Gillespie, 18 metres out. Steve Mortimer in a dummy half. Mortimer's pass, it comes to Langmack. Langmack stands, gets the pass away to Dunn. Dunn can't get his pass away though. 14 metres out from that Canberra line. Steve Mortimer, the blind side. He sent it away to brother Peter. Peter trying to brush off the tackle of Jackson. Can't do so. A couple of metres out from that Canberra line. Campbell, Steve Mortimer. The flick pass went to Langback. The long pass. It was picked up then by Farah, who's lost it. Good defence from Canberra as O'Sullivan gets the ball and scurries back towards the quarter line. Warren Ryan showing the face of a man who's obviously very frustrated with his team's performance this afternoon as Martin slips it away to Corkery, but Corkery that time is wrapped up by his opposite number. That was Colin Whitfield. Chris Kinner, the other winger, going for a gallop from dummy half. Except in the opening minutes, the football's hardly come his direction.
No, it hasn't, but Chris Kinner's been willing to get over the other side and to support Matthew Corkery. Just a couple of minutes ago, we saw him over there in defence, and now we see him over there in attack.
O'Sullivan runs it back to the halfway.
Peter Mortimer leaving the field. Appears to have taken a knock on the jaw.
But Peter Mortimer coming off, gee, I hope he hasn't suffered any jaw injury, because he did have a broken jaw, of course, early in the season, and what a kick. Beautiful kick from Peter Jackson.
Good control, and when things are going right, things are going right. Jackson just steadied, he had plenty of time. The Canterbury defence didn't come up on him. He picked his mark, looked for it, saw that Andrew Farrell was in the middle of the field, and a magnificent 30, 40, 50 metre gain.
Replacement taking the field is Jason Alchin for Peter Mortimer.
Jason coming on, and he immediately gets the ball there. Jason Alchin, 10 metres out from the Canterbury line, with Canberra having the points all parcelled up, leading 22 points to 4. And there's some good defence again as Curry is taken to the deck.
Had a good game, Tony Curry, though. He and Mortimer have received little ball, and every time they have received the ball, they've looked dangerous.
Sandy Campbell going for a run, just outside the quarter line where he gets up and plays it, but there was no one at dummy half. And the ball's finished up being picked up then by Jason Alchin. Now it comes away to Campbell. And Dean Lance. Canberra leading Canterbury by 22 points to 4. Almost deja vu. First round, Canterbury defeated Canberra 23 points to 4. They kick a field goal.
Which they well could do. I mean, if Canberra get into the vicinity of the Canterbury line, I'm sure they will have a shot.
Whitfield stands in the tackle, can't offload the pass though. Canterbury with the ball just inside their own half. Steve Mortimer quickly away. It comes to Jason Alchin.
You've got to wonder what the effect of the loss of Terry Lamb, Peter Kelly and Chris Mortimer for this game has been on Canterbury. Terry Lamb was obviously missed. It was very apparent in the first half when the kicking game was falling down for Canterbury. They had no organisation getting that kick away on the fifth tackle. Peter Kelly and Chris Mortimer, obviously they would have been very useful in the middle today to try and put a bit of momentum forward into the attack, particularly Peter Kelly on this heavy ground, but you can't take anything away from Canberra.
The big thing, of course, is that Terry Lamb has scored more than half of Canterbury Bankstown's points this year, 155 out of 307 before today. It's almost still half, because of now they've scored 311. Interesting thing is they still haven't scored a try today yet.
Well, it's a very big effort by Terry Lamb, of course, because he has missed a few games through injury and through representative commitments, but I can't agree with Warren that they've missed his kicking game, because they have one of the best tactical kickers in Steve Mortimer out there, and surely he should have taken a bit of the burden off his forwards by using that kicking game this afternoon.
Whitfield, again another run over there on that right flank, but nipped in the bud by Lance and Corkery as Langmack crosses the halfway line. They've got it just inside Canberra's territory. The long pass comes away to Tunks. Now that's Folkes. Folkes in open space. Folkes almost to the quarter line. Offloads it. Back it goes to Jason Alchin. Alchin the little pirouette. Back it comes to Dunn. Dunn away to Curry. Curry goes to the quarter line. Curry goes on his own, but good defence that time. That was Morrissey who read that well. Came racing across. Kinner stayed on his wing and looked after Campbell. Steve Mortimer, I should say, the little chip kick through. Too long in the end. Across the dead ball line, and Belcher gathers the ball up as Canberra bring it back to the quarter line.
Well, it really was a desperation kick there. Steve Mortimer really didn't have anything to aim for except Gary Belcher, who's always in position. It just went too far, and certainly it was a frustration kick.
This win by Canberra is going to make a few people reassess the semi-final chances too. When you look at it, the games to come for Canberra, they play South and East. They're pretty tough matches. They'll be on 30 points after today. But Canterbury, they slip out of the 5 on staying on 28 points. They've got Illawarra to come, but then I'd hate to be Canterbury having to beat St George in the last round to make the semi-finals.
Well, of course, St George absolutely annihilated Canterbury in the first round at Belmore. And it's not going to be an easy task for Canterbury to knock off the Saints in a couple of weeks' time at the cricket ground. Canberra with the ball. It's Steve Walters. O'Sullivan, the cutout pass, finishes up with Corkery. Hasn't he come on in leaps and bounds this year, Matthew Corkery? Steve Walters, the grubber kicks the touch and he finds it. The clock has stopped on the 5-minute mark. The crowd wends its way out of the ground. I wouldn't have thought there'd be too many Canberra supporters that leave early though, despite the fact that it's probably a little bit chilly down there now. It's been a magnificent day though. The Lord really has looked after us.
Certainly has, and Canberra just been too good today, but Canterbury have contributed to their own demise by committing 55 errors, and I believe that that's a club record over the last 5 or so years.
So Canterbury now coming up to kick the touch. It's going to be Andrew Farrett. Canterbury now, can they put a try on the board as Tunks takes it ahead. Now Bugden now from dummy half, away it goes to Dunn, and Dunn has taken a very heavy tackle here. Steve Walters affecting it, Coyne over the top as it comes from Bugden. Steve Mortimer, away it goes, Langback the switch back the blind side, and they've made a bit of a mess of that one. Jason Algin goes back to pick it up. One of the old Canterbury moves that often comes off, involving the quick switch by Steve Mortimer back down that blind side as Hagan takes it back to the quarter line. Bugden, Langmack on his own. The long pass, it's been intercepted, but Jackson can't hold onto the ball. He was on his way to the line. The only man coming across in cover was Peter Tunks, but he would have put that underneath the black dot. Look at this. He had it, and dropped it.
And he was upset about it too. He just pounded his fist into the turf. He held his head back in disgust, and I'm sure I would have backed him against Peter Tunks as well.
Yeah, I think anyone would have, even Tunksy. So now going from dummy half, Mark Bugden, Andrew Farrett, Steve Mortimer, Jason Alchin. Away it comes now from Curry. He got the ball back from Hagan, and then look at the speed that Curry's got. It's Whitfield with it now, but Corkery sticks to him like glue, puts him on the deck, 14 or 15 metres out. Canterbury still with the ball. Alchin away to Steve Mortimer. Back it goes to Farrett, who knocks it on. It wasn't a good pass from Mortimer. He comes back. That's Alchin. Steve Mortimer, the quick pass back the other way. Almost had it with a greasy ball. A very difficult assignment to grab hold of it.
Yes, the ball was just passed too far in front of Andrew Farrell there. He couldn't hold on, and Steve Mortimer has been responsible for a few mistakes this afternoon. Not a happy game for Steve.
So now Belcher, as the siren goes in the background, he won't even have to get up and play it, Gary Belcher. One of the most memorable wins ever by the Canberra Raiders, as they have defeated the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs by 22 points to 4. An outstanding display. They are definitely in the 5, irrespective of what else happens this weekend. They are certainly in the top 5, and if Eastern Suburb should beat South Sydney tomorrow, Canberra will leapfrog South and move into outright 4th position. The battle for the final 5 continues, but the Raiders fans can breathe just that fraction easier today, and what a great game some of them played. They were all heroes today, though. Let's have a look at the details, and I think that says it all. Canterbury kept tryless. For Canberra, though, Kinner, Henja, Jackson, Corkery and Coyne. 5 tries in all, and in the end, Corkery was only successful with his first attempted goal, and 1 goal from 7 between the 2 Canberra kickers, Gary Belcher and Matthew Corkery. So it could quite easily have been 34 to 4, because the goals they missed weren't that difficult. In fact, the